Ladies and gentlemen, Courageous. You're on a Courageous podcast. It's that cool, cunning, conniving cats. Once again, I'm here to talk to my peoples about us. Specifically, I want to talk to us about our bloodline, our race. Why is this important? This is important because nowadays people are using lineage to divide other black people amongst each other. When our race as a whole has been targeted after by every other race. And through these lineage, these other races trick us into dividing and conquering each other instead of sticking together and becoming stronger. This is important because we further create division amongst each other, family, friends, loved ones, because everybody knows skin folk is not always kinfolk, right? And we say that for a reason, and these people who don't like it, who are black, get mad, they get upset because they feel attacked. So they feel they have to go off to divide themselves even further to try to one up another race. As a person, as a black man who's been bullied through most of my high school, most of my school days, throughout me young, growing up, I was bullied from the 3rd grade to the 10th grade. And it's not like I got my ass whooped and stuff all the time. I'm a unique individual. When I started off getting bullied in the 3rd grade, it was 6th graders, black men, or black young teens, who was chasing me and my little brother to elementary school for miles. One day I got tired of it. We just barely made it to school, just protecting my little brother till my brothers remained across the fence while I jumped over, gathered the strength, the courage, and I whooped both their asses, 6th graders, when I was in the 3rd grade, right? So these guys were way older than me. 3 grades higher doesn't mean 3 years higher. It doesn't always work like that. I tell you this because I could have been a coon. I could have hated my people. I could have gone against my people. These men had no reason to come after me and my little brother. I was too young. to be considered as a coon or anything other than that. And these are black boys that should have been smarter, more educated, been worried about more important things in their lives, but they choose to attack two younger black men instead of encouraging them, taking the wing, showing them the ropes, make them stronger black men. But I don't blame any of my people because I'm smart enough to know the difference. I'm smart to know the things that white society done to us, not people, to not keep it on our people. And it's important because we have to become better. We have to be better people. We have to become better, stronger men. And we're not going to do that by keep on finding reasons to attack each other. And the main reason people have been using these days is lineage. Because they're misinformed. Same people that I went to school with, they didn't care about education, they didn't care about history. People like these are the people who are growing up now who get information as adults. And they want to learn because they've seen somebody say something smart, sounds right. They've been maybe a victim of something as an adult. Now they're more aware. And they're gonna latch on to the first thing they hear. Because they're still immature. So then they say, oh, I got Native American blood in me. I must be a Native American. Somebody told me that Native Americans look black. They have black features. They're the original ones on here. They were part of the slave class and they worked with us and they were also beat and brung in here. These people don't know history. See, these people will say that America's lying to us and they want us not to know who we are. But these people never learn history while we were growing up. They never know the times, how things were back then. They don't realize, see, I'm a unique individual. I'm not saying that I'm more special than most people. I'm just uniquely character that I have a good long-term memory. As a young kid, said 3rd grade, even further than that. I remember things since I was 3 years old. Right, so my recollection of history is a lot more better. I'm a person, since I was 3 years old, connected dots, have dots, connecting them. I gathered information, didn't even know why I was, but I did. I gathered I'm a person who documented history and times, revelations, or what's relevant during the time. Back then, white people didn't hide things from us. You wanna know why? Because they want to rub it in our faces. They want to let us know who we were. They want to know what they've done. They had badge of honor for what they did. Right? It's not till nowadays that the tactics have changed. Will let us allow us to mislead ourselves and each other, because now you have white people who are bothered by the atrocities that them and their family have done for generations and generations. So they want you to be misinformed. They want you to keep fighting each other, say lies to each other, teach each other through memes. They will hop on the bandwagon. They will just start telling you about wicked things that they are done in history, so they could get a form of trust, so you can believe what they say, so you can side with them, and it works. You have a lot of black people empathizes white people. There's nothing wrong with not having hatred towards other races, but to empathize with another race more that you envy in them, give them passes, but you ridicule your race, don't give a pass, don't acknowledge the things and the struggles they go through or have been through, trauma that we have been through, and then start saying quotes for white people because you're tired of hearing it. You're tired of being poor. You're tired of being looking down as another, so you want to run and hide behind false history, anything to prove that you're not one of us, or not weak, or not a victim. Does it bring you pleasure just to say those words to yourself, to reassure yourself with those type of things? Like being a victim is a choice. Like being a victim makes you weak. There's strong people who are victims. Circumstances. Jesus was a victim, and he's the strongest, most perfect person in this world that ever lived in this world. But you want to make thinking being a victim is bad, and it's only people who are victimized. You say, you latch onto these things. We're not a monolith because you want to be different, knowing that humans are more alike than they're different. That our likeness makes us stronger, not weaker. Do you want to run away from these stereotypes? And other people, shamefully, who puts on negative stereotypes and feed it down our community. But I understand those things, and you want to run away from them instead of being the difference. Be the person that makes a change, as in leading their community into a better light, a better way. No, you rather ridicule, turn your back around, across them, think of any type of ways to make yourself different. Well, let me inform you, let me enlighten you, bring you some history. If you can trust another black man, listen to the words of another black man who's educated, who's wise, who's humble. See, black people have got reparations before. Yes, we have. But the thing is, after slavery, the the white community wouldn't give us jobs. Because the same white people who got us out of slavery only did it for things that's like repeating to this day of guilt. Not enough guilt for them to give us a fair chance, repay for atrocities they have done. No. Just enough for them to feel good about themselves, which is not enough. So, yes, they freed us from slavery, but that's all. So we have no jobs, nowhere to go to. So now, instead of them forcing us to be slaves, we had no choice to go back to these plantations and work just like a slave for nickels on a dime, pennies on a dime. It's so much love, but we work those fields now willfully. We'll work those fields just to make some money, to survive. Because now the white people feel, hey, we wiped our hands, we kept them out of slavery. Now they can defend for themselves. But the thing is, after nearly 250 years of slavery, after all the culture strips, the family's been taken away, all the traumatizing acts they're done on us. We weren't self-efficient as human beings because we weren't treated like human beings. We were less than animals to them. And at that point, still, despite freeing us, we still wasn't a human to them. And to this day, you still have a lot of whites who still believe in that. And I have seen it and hear it myself. No, that's like this is a word disclaimer. I'm not against white people. I'm not against any race of people. I'm just for my people, right? I dated white women, 3 to be exact. But this is not because I hated my women. Nothing like that. The source is just proximity. Proximity. See, I had my little brother who was the gangster of the family. He ran around, hitting the streets, kicking in doors, right? He one day brought in a friend, a white friend, a white male that was way older than him, that's older than me, by a couple of years, right? He best friends with them, or becoming best friends. Guys I've seen before in the past working at a GameStop. So I have a good mind of remembering people's faces. So I remember seeing them before, a long time ago. It's like a couple of years or more. Been through a lot of stuff, so I shouldn't have remembered them, but I did. Familiar. I knew kind of vaguely remember me. Being by my brother running around a lot, having a kinship that even formed bigger than my brother, right? And through this kinship, my mom got to know him more. This is a guy who was adopted. He didn't have a family, either a real family, he had an adopted family that disowned him. So mom took them and adopted them, informal adoption. So when I got my first apartment, I moved out. I kept them close to me. And we chilled, brothers to this day. So it's not like I hate other races of friends. I had Mexican friends. I speak Spanish a little bit, more or less, actually. Not very fluent at it, but more or less. I just tell you this to say I have no hatred towards it. But I know what they've done. So, since we're no longer slaves anymore, we couldn't get a job. We have to go back to these slave farms, get paid pennies on a dime. Like I said, sorry for the interruption. But when they gave reparations out to black people for the wrongs, the atrocities they'd done, they gave reparations out because they already had gave Native Americans reparations, right? So here's where it gets real interesting now. White people weren't the only one that had slaves. Now they want to say that not all white people had slaves. Yeah, not everybody had slaves, but a lot of them did. A lot of them liked the status quo. And not only that, only white people had slaves. Native Americans had slaves. They gave Native American people black slaves, right? So these Native Americans also had white names because they were integrating with the white community. See, we learn from history, or if you learned your history, let's skip back up real quick past those times. White people weren't always called whites, right? We had the Caucasians, we had the Irish, we have the Jews, we have the Irish, the Jews, Caucasians, and the Italians. The Italians, right? So these people, they were also discriminated against, right? You know, we have games about gangs of the world, gangs of New York. There was plenty of gangs, and during that time they had turfs, different areas. They killed each other. They stole riches. They exploited societal advantages in groups and numbers. But what they all had in common is the skin color, right? Well, as things going on, it was obvious these times black people are still suffering. And if it wasn't for the indirect racism that was going upon us, it was the trauma, the disadvantages of not being able to read, being scared to read, and fear of being killed, harassed, maimed, and scarred. Because despite these other races were still killing each other, it wasn't as harsh or focused as it was always on the black society. Because all of them together collectively still kept us below their feet. The mentality of the white race as a whole is, as long as I'm better than the blacks, I don't mind being poor. But let's go back. So getting off the subject. topic. Let's talk about Native Americans. They're the first really ones to integrate with society, with the whites, because their skin color ranged until a lot of complexions, in which such as like Mexicans, just like Indians, not Native Americans, because we're talking about them, right? But real Indians from India, and Asians, which Indians are Asian if you, but you can see what the skin color, they all have similar skin colors. They all randomly have exaggerated traits because in reality, everybody's from Africa, the motherland. But the opposite of white is black, and we always been in the forefront of their hate. Side note, go to certain museums, you'll see brains of white men who were thought to be intellectuals. White people show the pride in their biology by putting jars of brains of intellectuals. And right beside those jars will be genitals, penis of black men, African men, elongated, because we were always hated for who we are and still are. We're hated for being the dominant race naturally. So we must be snuffed out because black DNA overrides whites in other races. With the most dominant gene on this planet. But let's go back, saying about reparations. See, blacks were given reparations. But the thing is, we were still on plantations trying to make a living and earning through small amounts of pay. These slave owners, they will keep our documents, our names, our social security, all important information. So when it's time for government officials to come and to inform us of the white men who didn't really care about, some didn't even agree with it either, but they were the informers. So these people may deal with these white and Native American slave owners to keep the money, to keep the land, because they had already information. We were already underneath their services, so it kept the information away from us, stole our money and our land up on our feet. That's why you have all this land that is in the name of white people, because none to very few was given to rarely few were given to black people. And the ones that were given was eventually stolen over and taken. Now, why do you think you're Native American, originated from Native America? Oh, the Trail of Tears happened. The Native Americans were snuffed out. And this wasn't cowboys, Indians. See, a little small fact I'd like to inform people. Cowboys were black men. At no point in history before then that white men would call themselves boys. Cowboys were black indentured service slaves like we were talking about earlier, from the time they're still in their land from us, right? Now, the downfall of evil, negativity, the corruption, downfall of these things is they're not perfect, right? We're all still human. So the plans that they made always have a loophole inside there. The loophole at this time, that when white men called black men cowboys, before there was television, their sons and daughters seen us men, us black men, taming horses, cattle on these white slave owner farms, land that was stolen from us. And they envied us. If you watch old school movies, if you've been in those situations of being envied by children doing your natural chores, which they would think is like awesome because kids are gullible. So side note, I always, as young, heard the story of Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and I read books constantly forced down my throat about this all growing up for a good short amount of time. Up to the 5th grade or so. And I know why. I always buried that story. Why I always came up in shows and movies about it on top of the documentary, right? The documents. I knew it would be important to me. Like I told you, the type of me, type of person, I keep tabs among these things subconsciously. I know how to string things together. What was the main story, the first chapter of these books that told you? It was about a man tricking a little boy into to paint his fence for him white, right? So what he did is pretend that these things were fun, enjoyable, and did it flaunting it in front of the children, the child, and convinced them to do it, the events for him for free. So they had no shame amongst each other. You can see that these men are not real men, cowarding from work, getting children. Like I said, they were proud of their history. These are things that they kept shoving down their throat. I outsmarted a little boy to paint my fence. And this is supposed to be another white boy and a white man. So there was no shame amongst them. No lies. So you can believe it. These are the type of times that they were proud of what they did. Not like these days, their guilt wasn't focused towards that. It's like I said, as far as I know, we were free. So their hands were wiped clean, as far as they know. So, got these lands stolen from us. We had Native American slave owners. These slave owners raped our mothers, our grandmothers, as well, and punished and killed other black men despite them being free, despite them supposed to be paid amongst them. But they didn't know who cared about black men, and there were so many slaves that had one or two going missing. Who would know? More and more gathered up. Who would know? Because these are times before the Jim Crow era. Time Jim Crow came. Y'all know about the Jim Crow era? Or the atrocities? I mean, I'm pretty sure I heard things here or there. Especially when it comes to Martin Luther King. They have a little piece in downtown Dallas to show you. Colored fountains, colored restrooms here or there. Let it go. We weren't considered as full men, 1/3 of them, right? But you have to understand history of picnics. Jim Crow era just only ended 70 years ago. I don't know how long up to that time, but during that time of Jim Crow, these people would kill us, hang us in trees, and then cut off our genitals. And then have a picnic underneath it with their kids, newborn babies, infants, toddlers, like nothing ever happened. In fact, they rejoice seeing the hanging black bodies. Just lately I found out, didn't know, they even somehow cut off the women's genitals. It wasn't enough for just the men, it was some of the women that were getting their genitals cut off. I don't know how that's possible, since the female genitals is naturally more attached to women, part of their hips, their body. It's not simple, so I don't know how far, I can't even imagine how far that goes. So man, it's just a whole, grab, cut the whole thing off, there you go. Chunk it in the grass somewhere, which a lot of people did. These people, it wasn't enough to brutalize us. I mean, the atrocities of the people, they raped us in front of each other, mother amongst child, child amongst mother and father, husband amongst wife, wife among husband. Just butt breaking. But it was enough for them to do that, to whip us, beat us. They would hang us and then cut off our genitals. And that wasn't even enough for them. A lot of these people would eat us. Yes, we were a delicacy to them. They would eat our penises, genitals, in hopes to enhance theirs. Someone just get a natural taste from them. You know the story. Who was that guy who just got on a Netflix document killing black men and eating them? Y'all, most of y'all love the show of. Can't recall right now. It's not that important, but you know what I'm talking about. Just wanted to add for us clarity. I have Native American in my blood. I have Italian. I have French. But what matters to me is my blackness. So yes, if you get a DNA test, which I don't believe in much, And it says that you're not fully black or you have more of this and that. It's not because you are a part of these tribes of Native American men, no more than you were part of the white slave owners. Your families were raped, defiled. You're a form of forced sex amongst you in your blood. And now you go around flaunting it, creating them stories, romanticizing your negative inheritances. And then on top of that, you use that to divide yourself further amongst your people, bring your people down, ridicule them, act like you're better than, like you're not traumatized yourself. Then go ahead and say that you're not all you want. Trauma appears in multiple ways. If you're not aware of it, you're not aware of the side effects. For example, white people have a good form of trauma, or a beneficial, I wouldn't say just a beneficial trauma, right? Trauma could be the cultural inheritance that you make, because these are trauma is just a form of behavior. That's still inside the blood. Now it could be positive behavior, it could be negative behavior, but it's still among the blood. That's how we get culture, and that's why you act like your dad and never met him, never seen him, but you have his same taste, his mannerisms. Your grandpa, your grandma, you have the more mannerisms because everything carries through the blood. And white people got this because white men during the Caucasian mountain times, they trained dogs, captured dogs. I seen a documentary of how they got the fox. So domestic ties. See, what the thing is, which you could, if you remember from slavery, is very familiar. You can read this. They did to dogs. That's why we have a lot of domestic. That's why most of them follow. See what they did. I'm going to give you an example by giving the foxes. They caged them up. Have a group of all cages. They fed them through the cages, right? Fed them so they have familiar with who gave them the food, right? Fed them. Then we'll put the hand of these feral creatures. And they bite them. The ones that bite them, they'll take a shotgun in front of all the other foxes. Bow, shoot them. Kill them in front of the foxes. It would give a signal to their blood, to the eyes, to the witness. It's force. Something you can't stop. Went into the bloodstream, the trauma of seeing these things. So it taught the foxes mentally, the ones who got traumatized to the point to where they got obedient. And not only that, it carried through their blood and went to the offsprings. So when their offsprings come into fruition, they also know not to bite the hand that feed them. It was a natural instinct. That's why you naturally roll amongst your slave owners and empathize with them and want to do for them and want to put them above your own race and want to empathize among them more than your own race. It's not only that, trauma comes in different ways, I tell you. Why don't we like to read and educate ourselves? It's because we've No good, lazy ass niggas. Is it? Or is it because they taught us not to read, not to write, and if they ever catch us even during the Jim Crow times, and times a little bit after, they would kill us, hang us, shoot us, and so now beat us. So now a lot of us, we can't or don't have the will to try to do these things because it's been traumatizing us not to want to. So the Saints out of control how these black men and women don't want to learn anything when they're going to school because they use the excuse that this is white people shit and stuff, but have the lips to listen to some random person on a meme, on TikTok video, on YouTube, Facebook. I mean, I'm not saying every other stuff you've learned from me, right? Learning from me. So it's not bad to learn, but I encourage you to go and do your research, your actual research, if you know how to do it. And stop going among these memes and these little false things just because you want it to be real, want it to be true, doesn't make it. There's facts and culture. So the thing is, we went to school with these people side by side, so we are free. They had to teach. We have technology as we have right now, so we can mislead people these days. They can mislead us these days. It's not a sweat. But back to the old times when I was growing up, they didn't have the luxury to spread lies. On top of that, they had a pride still in what they done to us. During our generation, not my generation, during the time I was born, a little bit, started to get this another form of way of white guilt come through white privilege. Then they don't care about having this privilege. They don't feel guilty into the way you think they do. They want to absolve things they do. That's why you hear these people, they would get on YouTube, make some more money off of telling you what they put you through so you can empathize with them and become more docile. And they make more money. And they would never fight for your reparations, fight for your well-being. They'll get close to you, steal your culture, steal your services, because they let us go to slowly integrate and steal from us. Just to take it back. And if you notice, these empowerments come in waves. They're close enough to us and come back. They snatch and rip something from us every time, making our weak race weaker. And if you know, during my time I grew up, there was a time of saying that we can't invent any slang. Every time we invent a slang, white people will steal it. And that's truthful. We don't have no slang that we stopped trying to do that shit because there was no use. And use all. I have a associate and bachelor's degree in computer engineering. I've been in these corporations with these suit and ties, white people. They use more slang than we do. Let them fool you that they're these smart, sophisticated people. But in reality, the reason that they're there is because they know somebody else. They told you in your face and you didn't believe them. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. But they make you tricky, think you're stupid and slow. But yet we invented everything. We taught them everything they know. That's all we only have entertainment left. Something that they can naturally steal from them, but they learning. They getting it. White women are getting more curvy, still not size, poisoning our food, making our women less deficient, more masculine. They already had the women's right movement. They figured it out. We couldn't separate the woman from a man the whole time during slavery. Why is that? Because we made them both suffer at the same time. We tortured them. But then after a while, the white women recognize you as women. Oh, they like the same things we like. Now we know how to trick them. What we do is we're separating them from the men. Put them in a high position. Then we'll gossip to them, right? Here in the Bible, what's the worst thing that women do, or the Bible ridicules? Gossip. What is the black people? What's our form of religious worship? The gossip, right? That black women in power, they push the church amongst us the most, right? Gossip. And they try to separate them. But what do black women do when they're doing church all the time? Gossip. Gossip all the time. Why they do gossip? Why is gossip bad? Because women, as social creatures, has weaker than their men when it comes to fighting and standing up for themselves, for tyranny and wrongs. Well, women are more empathetic. They're prone to listen to each other. So, with their emotional state and their empathetic will to listen to each other, white women gave them quotes to go by that they were getting done to them by their men. And they keep on telling them, so they had black women on the forefront, holding up signs, fighting for their cause, saying it's a woman's right, thinking that they are getting a slice of the pie too. So what do the black women do? They take these quotes that's been fed to them, repetitively to them, and stuck in their head. Keep on saying over their head. So then they go home, back to their loving husband that was no higher than them. That were doing their best to struggle with them, because the black women and the black woman was always drawn to each other to this point. So these quotes and these words saying they would start using on their men, start acting more defiant, right? So they can hold it back. It's like these foxes that were shot and known to pass that down to their blood, to their infants. Because it'd be females, mostly. And males could do it. They could pass down trauma, but who be in the womb, those trauma happen. And able to pass down one more. So these women, they brought these sayings, these words back to their men and used it against them. got empowered by the government. We just set them up nice perfectly. Now we're about to empower them. Now that men be down here and they be up here. But they know how women operate. It's like Adam and Eve, just like they had this whole Pandora's box. Women are not supposed to be in a state of power above the men because they're more influential. They don't have a natural leadership to them. And why would they? Because everybody treats them with kid gloves. No matter what they do. Everybody knows a woman for being a woman. As much as they want to admit themselves as strong, they still treat themselves as weak creatures and still say they're strong. But then they thought they were better than their men. They didn't need their men. So they talked back to them. They became unruly. And then the point they had the opportunity to cast them out. Start relying on the government. What the government represented? A group of white men. So therefore, their infatuation, their respect for white men, white people as a whole, start increasing. It's like giving the food to the foxes. You win their trust by gifts. Tokens of appreciation. Let's drop your guard. See, men, we're more naturally toned to these things. Yeah, we have moments of weakness that we can do it, but in a natural basis, we know how to see things for what they are, or figure out things eventually for what they are. I'm not saying all men. The thing is, when you have women raising men, these dominant traits are less likely to happen, less likely to develop. So therefore the men become weak and more effeminate. Because, important note to make, just to tell you the difference, if you don't believe me, it belongs to men and women. Men are empowered by knowing their history. The past. Women are traumatized by it. They resent it. They don't want to. They're not the ones who naturally pass on history and culture. That's how we men know what to watch out for. What we pass down to the next group of men to know what to watch out for, to look to grow as a being. So you sound see why we have been growing as human beings. Because the natural passive history is no longer there. We're not encouraged to do pass on history. And you have the women who keep history, rewrite it to a point to where they feel comfortable. So they take liberties in teaching history just to perform comforts amongst their families and their friends. So they make their men, their boys weak. They make the whole family weak. And then pass this on. I don't hate women. I'm married. I have my ring finger on the wrong hand. I need to get resized. But if you go to my profile, you see my wife on it. I'm not no passport, bro, but my wife is African. The reason I'm not a passport bro is because I wed my wife when she was in America. Didn't know she was African. Gave her the same line of words, and just by then I wasn't dating white. I dated 3 white women in my life. 4 for one way older woman who hollered at me, but it was nothing sexual though. She just owned a business, and she was like the way a man looked coming home from work and walking. She owned her little motorcycle company. Found out that she was like the way I look, and then on top of that, her husband still worked with her, right? So she, strong, handsome black man, she used me as to show that, hey, I'm doing better, just to make him feel shitty about himself, right? Throwing in his face, so it wasn't much. I met me some famous football players. Seen a lot of famous things, but it was a short-lived relationship. It wasn't very romantic in the point of a sexual type of thing or anything like that. It's more like a little puppy dog love, and it's more she was puppy dog toward me than I was, because she's the one who hollered at me and asked. Older woman, way older than me. If I said it like that, that was like, since I never been with a white woman before. Yeah, I had some white friends, homegirls, but never could relate with them, right? After that, my white friend had a white woman that came. Well, he had a black woman. He invited the white woman to the house. She was just there when I came. Me being nice, didn't want to cast her out. Let her stay there. When I'm joking and getting talking to each other and end up growing fondness for each other. That's how we end up being there. She was literally in the house. She was proximity. And I was doing my thing during that, because I was poor trying to get up. So I didn't have time to focus on. I was going to college. Didn't have time to focus on women, but since I was one right in the house, it was hard to resist. Young man with raging hormones just got a sexless relationship with another white woman. One thing leads to another, man. And after that was her friend, and after that was her other friend, and these were friends that weren't real click, these friends from the past that showed me that they were you're more useful. So it was just proximity, not the fact of hatred, not the fact I couldn't get a black woman. I had black girlfriends before and after, right? After a while, my last relationship, I spent 5 years with a white woman, and I seen her lashing out, being disrespectful. I learned to find out that, white people generally, including my white brother, they all have racism in them still. They hide it well enough, some of them don't know it. They don't realize it. So I started to know, if you want to find out who's a racist white person, it's ones who don't empathize, don't allow liberties to your struggle. Why is that important? Anybody make liberties for us? Like, yeah, it's true. From people who know that their race dominated ours, and the fact that we're at a disadvantage to this day. Because if they say that they're friends, they're not racist towards you, then they would know to make liberties for you. And arranged amongst a lot of things, excusing some behaviors, acknowledging truths about our struggles and events. because if they weren't race, they wouldn't assume that you're lying. You know what you're talking about. But it's in their blood. So they're still traumatized to still hate us, to resent us, to go against us. So I say, watch out for people you have. Start feeding my brother from long chain. Separate them. Been not around for too long to totally dismiss them. And because I have no hatred, no malice towards him, and I don't have hatred towards white people generally, but the system of things, the white society, I do. I resent the white society as in whole. Not as individuals, there's individual benefits. Right now, Africa's apologized and tried to invite this back, which I appreciate to an extent, but the thing is, there's things that white people have done, not just for us, but we benefit off that. We got free money like stimulus and stuff, free food and stuff, free acknowledgement of things that we weren't able to provide for them. So when they come upon a basis to join them, they come into a point that we're not have to give to them. And all that it took for us, and that we don't have much to give, so they wouldn't just come, and then we could build from there. A revive for you until you get on your feet, so then you could pay back and pay more. Give us a chance to make profit, to give to them, but that's not what's doing Africa. And it's a shame for me to say this, but I really honor and really respect Ibrahim Traoré from Burkina Faso and all that he does. Great leader. But I can still see the resentment in the black people. If you know that Africa is known for being a scamming state and resentful towards blacks, why make us pay such a large amount of money to be indoctrinated back into the African diaspora when you admit that your people do us wrong, great wrong? Not only that, us wrong, your own people in Africa at the point. But you're not doing them wrong anymore. You're doing us. You've made us try to provide for your environment. $300 starter. $30 a month at least for whoever they wants to guide us around. That's not much of a problem. But then the thing is X variables of other money that we have to give to them. So he doesn't understand the black people. We're not going to go to a place that we have a natural disadvantage over, that you have not give us a chance to give us accommodations to make up for it. Yeah, he said we get first dibs on the job. He don't have a clue when those jobs gonna be, how they gonna pay out. You don't know. If you don't come to a place, there's a place to stay at. We will add to the culture way more greater over time. So if you admit that you've done this wrong, show us by allowing us to come freely. Have us a place to stay at least a corporation until we could gather and show the experience and disperse into the areas ourselves. Use our money to what we want to put into society and build up things. Maybe start up businesses in there too. But it's not what's happening. And though I honor the respect the works that you've done, and the fact that you are allowing us to come back to, it's not really allowing us, because you already have black people and other races coming to your country. It's nothing different. We are allowed to come to your country and spend money. You can't apologize to us and then give us nothing for it and act like you are. You have to actually make amends, give us land, give us at least place to stay at for a year, because I have money currency. I'll pay rent one time a year, unlike America, a monthly thing. By then we'll make friends, give knowledge, build up the society on the positive notes, seeing the positivity. We'll disband for all the negative stuff that we had and try to incorporate good stuff into society. We'll just come and say, hey, we forgive you. Now come give us your money. Yeah, but do we have this? Maybe. We'll see. Well, no, we might need some more money. We'll just a good starter point. Let's get over here. We'll make you a citizen over here. Black people are not going to go be trapped in another place where we can have a huge disadvantage, or we already made up our advantage as in an aspect in the United States amongst these white people. We outsmarted them in their own place. Though we don't have financial advantages, only a very few, we do have greater ways of living, right? And we're $1 trillion people. So we do spend on bad habits, weaves, shoes, and all that stuff. But being in Africa, there's no such things. That I know that y'all are embracing American stuff, so you still can find American products over there. I understand that. But it's very significant compared to actual America. So I'm in beauty with this African clothing. You don't think lots of black people come through there and start sporting this beautiful clothing that feels better, that's made of better fabric? If we sport the white people's thing, we're gonna definitely sport black culture stuff. I got off the subject. I just want to be all around and give my points of views. It's already hard for me to come up here and very educated, full of a lot of knowledge. I'm a huge much talker. Just being in front of this camera has touched our energy. And it's got safety and used to. On top of that, I have a lot of things. Just starting me a family last December is when I got married, and I'm making sure my wife is comfortable. I'm still trying to build up. And for people to know, in Africa, right now I'm building businesses, cost-free, for African men and women. Tailored places, beauty shops, taxi. So I'm getting people cars, keeping people stores and supplies for free. Because I want our people to do good. And why our people are Africans in Africa and America is able to do more events over there. See, I'm having a good job right now. I could do a lot of work over there. I'm gonna do a lot of good work over here. So I'm planning to do is y'all donate to my fundraising, my GoFundMe, because I'm trying to make great empowerments in Africa and America. I'm trying to create another Black Wall Street like structure. I'm not trying to make Wakanda in both areas. We have a group where in Africa, where blacks and Africans can safely integrate amongst each other and commingle and habitate while building together. Where blacks get to learn more culture about our people and how we work in the land and everything. Opposite, fly Africans to America so they could get a design of this capitalist country, because it is beautiful here and a lot of stuff works over here and it's real nice. And I know Africa will get there soon, but right now it's not. It's gonna take us some time, but it's gonna take longer as long as we divide it. So I'm not asking Africans, you have different currency to donate to mine, but if you feel moved and feel free to donate to my GoFundMe. But definitely black people donate. I'm providing bridges and companies that I'm gonna do here and that's what because I'm already doing companies here. I'm an inventor, I have a invention. Portable rear view camera. It's my invention. Now, to be honest with it, a black man mentioned to me, an older black man, said, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do this and make this, I'm gonna pass it off to you and do it. I wish I remember his name to give him more credit for it, but he didn't give me the portable rear view camera. He gave me another idea, which I'm not, because I haven't patented that led to the portable rear view camera. That's my own thing. But he gave another thing that was similar that led to my portable rear view camera, right? That I got patent, to let you know. Unlike, unfortunately, our Maxwell Chukwumbuso, who couldn't get his fuelless energy out of microwave waves, patent, because when he came to America, he got poisoned. Him and his partner didn't make it, but now he's in Zimbabwe with the Zimbabwe president is funding him, and sooner or later we're gonna see a nice, futuristic Africa, the Wakanda experience, a true Wakanda experience. Yeah, maybe it was built on them, and maybe a white theory and stuff like that, but it's time for us to steal something back and empower ourselves with it. That wasn't negative, that was empowering. And we can make up another word for ourselves instead of the N word and pass that around. We can be something more stronger and better. But it's not going to be as long as we black people not grip to America, grip to American ways, and other people try to side with them and grow with them. We need to side with our own people. It has nothing, you're not racist and growing with other people. We have a group of South African white people who try to take over South Africa, who try to spread over there. And they made them their own currency, their own little society, dominating South Africa. And it's a shame to the South African presidents who haven't gone a guerrilla force and gone to wipe those people out and disperse that shit. I don't care about the policies or nothing like that. It's shameful. We need to take back our power in our motherland and make sure we ensure that power so it won't be stolen away from us or taken from beneath us. And that's a very big liability for Africa to have those white people, those Dutch, those Germans on there. I'm into racism, but I'm into doing what we gotta do for our own people. Some for our people more. So if they don't willingly get out there, because they love to take what's ours, like our women and our culture, and our land. So we have to remove them from there so it won't become a problem later, and so we can focus more on growing as people together, wiping away our borders that they put in so long ago by dominating the minds of our also African men. And the solution is not to put women in front of us to make them leaders. And I'm not putting down women. I think women have very much power, huge power, equal to ours. but it's not the same as ours. And though the power is equal to ours, it's not put as the leadership role. It's more as the helpmeet role. Their power empowers us. When we become one, they put the batteries in our packs to go out and do what we need to do. Because nobody's strong by themselves. We're only strong as a unit together. And our helpmates makes us realize that as a person is a small scale of what we do in a mass scale. Small scale representing what we do in a mass scale. You have to understand that our children are our power, our men's power is our army. A lot of people grow a big family just with one man and one woman. Over time, we can have all huge families. Our power is how we grow as natural people when we were not in together, but this is when we're together and we'll be stronger together. There's plenty of land, plenty of resources in Africa. If you know the actual ratio that's not displayed on our maps of how big we are about Africa is than all the other groups of land, continents. This puts us to shame. And even in these places, as they keep on trying to preach overpopulation, it's a false pretense. It's false pretense. And for us to believe in that will be going against our first commandment by Jehovah, our God, Most High. The first commandment is as human beings was be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth. So the more we keep that in our mind, the more we go against our natural, biological, and our first commandment by our Lord and Savior. Because we have other rules upon us doesn't excuse the original rules of being a human that we had got. So glad to sit this time with you, to have this courageous thought to share with my people and others who decide to look upon this. This is a Couragus podcast. I'm courageous.